Thank you so much. And I must say, there's a huge contribution, massive contribution from all our women entrepreneurs to our country's economy and the global economy at the same time. So maybe I have my first question goes for Aditi and Tripti. At the same time, they have been incubating a lot of women owned startups and women owned enterprise. So Aditi and what is your thought? I mean, we see there are millions of women. They have got ideas. They have got thought. They have strong back. Why? What are those things which is still stopping them to kickstart their entrepreneurial journey? What is that holding them today? And that's a fact. I mean,
Sure.
that's data which speaks.
So in fact, just to give you a little bit insight on the data, we talked about 14 million women entrepreneurs.
So true.
We've talked about 30 million women entrepreneurs, but the numbers are nowhere close to this. Okay. If you really look at the funnel, then you'll basically see that out of these 14 million, less than 1% are what we call as scalable businesses, which means that they have the ability to scale beyond a certain geography. The numbers are large, they're catering to a large market. Usually when you talk about scaling, you talk about hitting the $1 billion mark at some point of time, maybe 10 years, 20 years. That's not important, but that's less than 1%. So what that means is actually that when you look at a venture capital, or when you look at equity finance, which is basically risk capital, that capital is not available for women. It's very, very less. And in fact, the other way to look at it is that if you look at the women funds out there, how many are there? There really aren't any funds which are focusing on only women entrepreneur funding. They are now focusing on a much larger geography, right? If you look at the portfolio of any of the VC funds out there, you will basically see that maybe there are one or two companies which are either run by women or are for women. So that even includes men running businesses which are for women. Okay. Just to give you another statistic, there are about 100 companies which got funded last year. And in terms of the percentage of funds that they have garnered, it's less than 1% of the total amount of funding that went, to the overall community or the ecosystem. In fact, not only that, now there are only 20 women founders who are sole founders of businesses who have been funded to date. Very, very abysmal figures, honestly. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done. One of the things, that is missing is this entire ecosystem, this entire platform. Look at all of us, after school or after college, we were very keen on doing a job. Other than Lipika, who I love her example, but basically when you look at women, usually you will find that after after their first formal education is over, they will look for a job. They are little less risk averse. The reason is not that they don't want to be entrepreneurs. At some point of time, actually, entrepreneurship makes more sense for a woman than being in a job because it has more flexibility. But the fact of the matter is that it's not available right when you leave out of college. So this platform is missing. And I think a lot of work that even Tripti is doing, and she'll tell you about what she's doing, is about building this platform that, hey, look, you know what, if you want to be a woman entrepreneur, we are here. We'll support you. We'll even give you the first check of, say, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs. We're going to support you. We'll handhold you through your scaling journey and get you to the first round of funding. So more about that.
So what takeaway I have it from your pointers are, one is funding, the second is direction. This two is what is missing today.
Yeah.
I'll just add to what Aditi was saying, Samir. The recently, after 3 years of hard work working with the Ministry of Micro, Small, Medium Entrepreneur, we were able to bring in a new policy, if you're aware. Public procurement policy is that 25% has to be procured from women-owned businesses, right? And there was no such criteria of highlighting or supporting women entrepreneurs. So after 3 years of regular interaction with ministry, last year 3% was announced. Now 3% is not a small amount of the total procurement from public sector undertaking. It's a huge amount. Even a single PSU if you take, 3% could be more than 60 crore. Okay, that's the opportunity still available. Now we have got this policy in place, but they're not women. So we are trying to do vendor meet. We've done with Indian Oil, we've done with Kale. But believe me, the kind of products, as a person who's been working with women, not one but 100 cities, the kind of product which came into front, they were not of high value or they were not of quality. There is something missing. It's not just people responsible and they're not able to do it. I think I have come across cases where comfort has been a bigger challenge in a woman's life. To coming out of that comfort, when you know there is someone taking care of the needs, and people are coming out of comfort when things have gone wrong or they are difficult. But otherwise, in maximum of the cases, comfort is preferred. And people are ready to even let their whole thing go away, their whole ego and their everything to ensure the comfort is there. And that's where it only happens out of coming out of the comfort happens when things are not good or things are challenging, something has happened in life which you have to face it. And so today our target is just to create those women. And instead we are working with few of the PSUs and ministries to create business plans and opportunity where they can get into manufacturing. Like recently Indian Oil, we were talking about what are the two things women can make if they're not making, so that at least their revenue starts. Like, so we're talking about pipelines, pipes and all, so that at least they get into an entry. Maybe there are women, but they're not coming specifically with the kind of opportunity they can get. So this is just one challenge I'm telling you as someone who's working. And definitely funding comes later. Whatever product you have, whatever you are building, it needs to be vetted, it needs to be checked. You need to have examples. Even Aditi or we, even if we want to put in funds of someone else or our own,
Yeah, that's true.
we will go through the complete process. How many people used your product, how many people, what they about it. We will go in detail. Being a financial advisor and a due diligence expert, we will get into it. And then you should not just run for funding. I mean, you have to be right with your product, confident कि अगर funding नहीं भी मिलेगी ना तो चलेगा. We will do it. The confidence has to be there. Yeah.
Agree to your point.
Can I just come in?
Rashmi has a point. Yeah, please, Rashmi, please.
Very, very interesting viewpoint, Aditi and Tripti. And I've been working with women entrepreneurs for the last 8 years. We started off in 2012, and we said, okay, because we also started off as entrepreneurs. We had a banking career, and then we said, okay, we'll start it off, and 4 or 5 of us, we started it off. And over a period of time, and we had the passion, we were looking for funding, we got funding, etc. We got it from the US State Department. And when we started talking to women leaders, entrepreneurs especially, we also realized one thing is about the risk. Aditi did mention about it. They're slightly risk averse. They're very happy to take money from their husband or immediate family, do a crowdsourcing and sort of put in money. But the ambition quotient to go from X to 2x or 3x, they are I think they're complacent about it, and it could go back to our social cultural norms. Like Tripti also mentioned, saying they're very comfortable with what they're doing. And then I actually did one kind of a study called the ambition level in India of women leaders. And it was very interesting because almost about 80-85% of the women are very, very ambitious. But I don't know what was, sort of, but they were very happy. Itna kar liya, uske baad nahi karna, theek hai. And we are fine, we are happy, aa rahe hain paise, we are okay to do with it. But now with the newer generation of women which are coming in, and I'm seeing a lot of youngsters who are in their early 30s, late 20s, they have a lot of confidence, and they are actually sort of coming with the agenda, saying, okay, I will, I have I have this kind of a achievement that I need to do. So maybe it is generational also. Maybe the times are also changing. Maybe we have more role models right now. Maybe it's going to change. I just wanted to give a perspective.
No, just to put in one point, I don't think it's complacency. Like Tripti said, there is something wrong. Now, what is wrong? It's basically there is a network and then there is funding, and that gap between the two, no one is bridging it. You look at the IITs, right? Now IITs, let me give you an example of that. IITs have say 100 people in a batch. There are only 5 women in any case. Just see what those 5 women do. They're very happy that they're from IIT. Now, right after IIT, what is their priority? They have to get married. No? So their priorities change. So it's actually really about the ecosystem. And that whole thing about today I have to build that $1 billion company is not on their forefront, let's put it that way. So this whole thing, even when you scale, I know I'm telling you that, I scaled. It's madness. It's a terrible journey. Let me tell you that scale. If I didn't have 20 men telling me what to do, honestly, I'm telling you, I wouldn't know how to do it. So I feel that even we may be from IIMs and ISB and everything, but we don't have that bridge, someone to actually sit there and bridge that gap, that ab aise karo, ab aise karo, ab aise karo, it's very important. And men have it because they have their ecosystem, because they're happy to sit over a glass of beer in the evening and discuss that, okay, ab kaise karunga main. Whereas we all have to run back to our family, right? So networking is really not
Not necessarily. Women who are ambitious, they go out network. There are other women leaders also who help each other.
I'm
But of
very
course,
ambitious,
you
but
need to have
networking is
a
like,
diverse perspective.
yeah, is like a last thing on my plate.
It's also nails down to the interest of an individual. So
Yeah, it's an ambition quotient to kitna you want to push yourself,
correct.
and what is your choice? Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you so much for the pointers. Manjula, I have something for you. I have it for Manjula. I have it for Vartika as well. So, I mean, this is a sad story. We know, our good cast, Mr. Sushant's demise. We are all sorry for it. But after this, instance, we have been hearing a lot. The nepotism has been one of the virus in the industry, kind of. Let me tell it that way. It's a virus. So, what is your opinion in the women entrepreneurial landscape? Do you see nepotism do exist in some or the other format?
So I don't think, firstly, nepotism is a negative word. It does hold a positive meaning to it. I think it is not in the right place. So, it's in the wrong industry. Had it been in the agriculture industry where a farmer's kids are being inspired to become farmers, or, teachers' kids are being inspired to become teachers, or army professionals kids are being inspired to join army, then nepotism is a good word, right, for this industry. So I think with Sushant Singh Rajput's case, the nepotism is in the wrong place there. But in the other industries, I think it does have a good fit. um, Being a part of larger organization for last 20 years, I don't see that I have actually witnessed nepotism in our industry. Coming from IT, worked in HP, worked in Sapient, Satyam, I handled the crisis for Satyam. I don't think, nepotism was there. I have not witnessed it myself. One is because I think to become an engineer, you have to become an engineer. You have to go to the college, you have to get the degree. Or to become a doctor, because my dad is a doctor, I have to go through the exams and I have to get the degree to become a doctor. So there's a difference between the film industry and this. So for me, I don't think nepotism is a negative word. It is a very positive word. It needs to be fit into the right industry, and we have to promote a lot of talent in our country, which is going down. A lot of people are not choosing to become teachers because they don't have very good salary packages or things. So we need to empower that industry to come up, and we need to have good set of teachers coming to teach the future of our country. A lot of you see a lot of armed forces doing advertisement on TV. It wasn't the scene before, right? I mean, my dad was in the army, my granddad was in the British army and then Indian army. So they never had to advertise to join army. But today, in today's time, you're seeing Indian Navy advertising on television to promote youngsters to join the Navy and things like that. So I think that is where we definitely need to use this. So that's my take on nepotism. I think it's a positive word. It needs to be in the right industry.
You want to add, Vartika, Likita?
I will add a few points on the first point that you were talking about. Being a person who had really the need to have money at the time when I reached Delhi and I wanted to do something, I did not opt for a job. it was, I didn't have anything at the time. I was just with a few thousand rupees, about 3,000 rupees. Yet I did not opt for a job. I wanted to do my own work and I found my way. So what I want to say, while these two things are really correct when we say that yes, men have got the ecosystem because they have been here for a long time. Yes, they have been networking. They have options. Okay, ye kya karna hai, nahi karna hai, so can you do it for me, and sort of things.
Yeah.
It's the power of network. Women take network to the back seat. Why? Because they prioritize different other things which come in front of women. Maybe because of the biological role they have. And I would also point out that yes, there's a lack of drive. There's a drive is important. Funding will not stop, because if you are doing good, if you have some good idea, it's not about gender at that time. You will get it. But at the keeping a veil or a curtain about okay, just because of gender this will not happen, I don't think so. And for the same reason I started Vedasia, because I wanted to create a platform wherein women think that it's possible, looking at the inspiration, recognizing their talent and all that. So there needs to be a bridge, that's true, and networking needs to be done among women with different people across, with with the market around. But women will never be that much into networking, because women have got too many kind of things to do other than their work, and I'm sure all my friends will agree to it. We are women, and we need to first of all understand that women leaders are different, and we have to respect that difference. We don't need to be men. We don't have to become men. We have to have and evolve in our own way of leadership. So this is one thing that I don't think funding will stop, or funding will stop you from doing anything if you have the drive and if you have a good product and if you want to do it. Second thing, yes, networking is important, that's true, but we need to evolve and find out our ways. So each one of us over here are empowering other women and bridging the gap, actually. And if you talk about nepotism and women entrepreneurship, I think women entrepreneurship is at a nascent stage, Talking about nepotism and women entrepreneurship doesn't come at this moment. And if you talk about Bollywood and what has happened, we can talk for hours. It's extremely wrong about what has happened. Whether it has happened with Sushant Singh or not is a question mark. But it does happen, and nepotism leads to mediocrity, right? It deteriorates quality. Because when it is about quality, and as Manjula said that, okay, someone has to be an engineer, go through all these things, and then one can become, in Bollywood, it is not like that, right? If my son is someone that, I would like to push and is a good face or something, I'll push, give the money, I'll have my network getting done, all these things. That's wrong. The new talent will not get the space. So it's about industry specific, I think. And about women, yes, I think the drive must be there.
Yeah. So to your point, Vartika, I would like to also have your opinion on asking help used to be a sign of weakness. I mean, still it is. I mean, a lot of people has an assumption asking help is a sign of weakness. So what's your opinion? I mean, networking ultimately...
Asking help, if you'll not ask, nobody's got to understand that you have a need. Okay, first few people may not be able to do anything, but maybe 4 or 5 people together can help you in some way or the other. If you don't ask, your problem doesn't go to the person who can do any kind of help. So I think asking for help is something that means that doesn't come in your strength point. That comes in a point wherein you need someone to do it. You have got some strengths, and you at the same time, you have to work. You have to make your other things, you have to outsource your weakness, if I like to say. And asking for help means you want to plug those gaps with someone who can do it. And asking for help is absolutely fine. If someone is not coming to help you, know that if not this person, the other person. Agar aap nahi to koi aur nahi to koi aur, someone will be there. And maybe by that time, as you seek help and you learn, you may be able to do it yourself. That's how I learned, and I think that it's possible, and women should have the drive to do it. Asking for help is power, actually, today. When I started, I used to kind of, I used to dream about having a mentor, someone who can tell me about something. Yet I did not stop asking for help. I used to ask people, do you know this thing? Can you help me in this thing? Do you know about छोटे-छोटे तारों से जोड़ के बहुत सारे लंबा आप एक लाइन खींच सकते हो. We have to know this. You have to believe in it. आज के डेट में सी हम लोग अभी बैठे हैं to answer each and everything, and anybody coming to us, anybody going to Tripti or Aditi, do you think they will be able to help or not? They are sitting there for helping, right? So I think to what extent we can do, that's a question mark. Yes, I have to also tell you one thing. There are women who want that आप ही सब कुछ करके दो. My friends over here will probably agree. There are women who come to you and say, ये जो इसके लिए करना है, क्या आप इसके लिए कर दोगे? हाँ ठीक है, okay, let me connect you someone like this, okay. ये है, ये भी कर दोगे? मैंने कहा आप क्या करोगे? आप सोच रहे हो कैसे करके? आपका फाइनेंस कौन देखता है? हाँ जी, वो तो मेरा हस्बैंड देखते हैं, वो करते हैं, आप क्यों नहीं देख रहे हो? ओके, की चीजें हैं वो आप देखो ना. You have to look at those things and don't think that everybody will come and do. नहीं मेरे को help नहीं मिल रहा है, I'm asking. See, you have to understand what help you are asking for. Yes, I don't want you to compare to a man, but at least understand कि आपको वहां पे खड़े होने के लिए काबिल तो बनना होगा ना, तभी कोई आपको उस पेडेस्टल पे खड़ा करेगा. Otherwise, why? So these are the questions we deal with. So that's it.
No, thank you, Vartika. There's a lot of points, a lot of takeaways. I'm sure. Likita, you want to add here?
Yes, I think, like everybody has touched upon most of the things, but at least in my journey, there was one thing that I learned, and I kind of learned it the hard way, is that a lot of people, especially women, come with a sense of entitlement that, they don't have to sell themselves hard enough. But when I've been around men, especially, I realized that they sell themselves 24/7, and in fact, women sell themselves short. And I have learned to do that. It doesn't come naturally because we're always like trying to take care of things rather than being like the center of attention. But to build that skill set and to be a salesperson, not only for your organization but for yourself and your vision, is so important. Because believing in yourself is one thing, but making others believe in you and your vision is also more important. As in when we scale organizations or we inspire the people who work with us or for us, our vendors, our suppliers, our customers, it's so important for them to believe in you and your vision, to believe in your ability to make that vision a possibility, including the investors, for example. The selling point to have certain proof and to make sure that you sell yourself with a certain capacity and capability, that is a skill set, I think, which is so important. And it has to be developed from day one. That is like, I tell people that what is your return on investment, right? When men all throughout their life, they have to sell themselves, including in a marriage or like to their parents, or if anybody has to shell out a rupee to them, they have to sell themselves. But women come with a sense of entitlement that it'll come to me easy, or my cushion, my safe, there's always a safety net and a safety cushion, which again Tripti was saying, right? Unless we are in a bad position where we have to suddenly stand up for ourselves, we don't go out there and do it, as long as the cushion exists. So that's something I think, at least in my experience, is what I have felt the need to develop as a skill set. Coming to the whole point of, I wouldn't call it nepotism. I would probably call it a succession plan in the business sense of things. Because what generally happens is, for example, if I have to start something, whether my children are capable or not, they're going to get what I own. So when you look at it from a business perspective, it's more of a succession plan. So I had this conversation with my leadership team once, because my mother and I started this business, and my mother retired last year, and I had to take up the entire operation, though I was not somebody who's good at procurement, or I don't have that much knowledge when it comes to farming and agriculture. So I asked my team, I said, what if something had to happen to me, and what would happen to this company? And immediately they were like, your sister will take it up. But my sister is a lawyer and she works in an NGO. So that is the mindset that we build amongst our leadership team and the employees, that somebody from my family will come and take up the mantle, even whether they have necessary skill set or they have the interest, it doesn't matter. So I think it's the conversation that we build around our system, and we make sure that people in the organization have the opportunity to be a part of the ownership platform. It's a very personal and a conversation that you need to have within the organization and also with the people that you work with. So the expectation is set right. I don't think, I mean, we don't call it nepotism in business. We just assume it's our birthright. But it is in a way the same thing. So I think it's more up to the founder and the organizational structure, and again, the vision of how you build it to take it forward.
So I would like to add a little bit to this. We spoke about women being in challenge only then they really stand up for themselves, and then you see them coming out to becoming somebody really outstanding. I want to share a bit about my life. I grew up in a very good house, with a very liberated mindset father. But I left my home at the age of 17 after my dad passed away because I had a stepmom and she had no vision for me. Like she absolutely didn't know what she's going to plan out for me. And I left the home at the age of 17. I grew up in Bangalore, by the way, Samir, so I'm part of your city. I was not even qualified. I was in my second year of pharmacy. I have till date not completed my qualification. So, technically I'm just 12th pass. But when I walked out of home, I did go looking, I did go asking people for help. And I said that, I'm here and I'm out of home. I don't need any support from any, part of my family. I don't even want to go back to my grandparents or, ask the extended family to help me out because I want to explore life on my own. So I remember, when I walked out of home, I suddenly started living in a very small room, sharing it with an MBA student. And I didn't even have a, mattress to sleep. We used to sleep on the mat and stuff like that. So I think it's also how one woman can see how much, she wants to explore life on her own. While there are other options for you to go back to, you can definitely be taken care of because you're coming from a good background. It's not like you're really not coming from a great background. But at that point of time, I think for me what mattered was that I want to explore life the way my dad explored his life, the way my granddad explored his life, or however the other people in the ecosystem explored their life. It should be a life on my own terms. And trust me, the journey was great. I actually started off as an entrepreneur. So, I used to do a bit of modeling with Prasad Bidappa's organization in Bangalore, walk the ramp, make some money, and yeah, it was going good. But the whole thing was, yes, you need stability. So I remember I set up a company called the Winners Inc. And I did my first big show. And that's where I met one of the leading advertising agency CEO, and he offered me a job right there. And at that point of time, yes, although I had set up my company, there were big plans, when the company was getting set up, yeah, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and all that stuff. But when I got this opportunity of, joining another company, I actually grabbed it. And I grabbed it for a reason that, I'm young, I don't have the experience. I need to be part of an ecosystem where I get to learn. अपना business तो हम कभी भी start कर सकते हैं, right? So it's not like, if I join this company one fine day, the guy is not going to let me go or, something like that. If the day I'm confident again next time, I will go out and I will start my company again. So from there, actually, my whole agency journey got started. I moved to Mabuzel, to DNA Networks, where we used to do a lot of international concerts, and then Ogilvy and Mather. And thereafter, I moved into IT industry, and yeah, the graph of growth was going up. In spite of not having the qualification backing, I still was, taking one step up in my career. For one reason that, I always kept my options open. I always went to people saying that, I am not somebody who's going to stop at just what you want me to do, but I want to do more than this. So, fill my plate with more. So it was not because I wanted to earn more money or I wanted to grow more professionally. It was basically because I wanted to explore more out of one life, So it was like, TK, I remember in HP, most of my colleagues in the Marcom team were all IIMs, and I was the only one who was least qualified. But I managed to reach there, right? I'm sitting with them and I managed to reach there. So at that point also for me, the biggest driver was कि अगर ये लोग कर सकते हैं तो मुझे भी ये काम मिलना चाहिए, मुझे भी करना है, So that way. Coming to the entrepreneur journey, obviously I was always wanting to start something on my own, but at the same time, the journey of life also started, the marriage, all those things started happening. But I always had the upper hand on that. I mean, whether it was dating a guy, to setting my expectations with him, to the family expectation that, dude, I'm here to explore life, so I'm not here to just sit down and one fine day get married and have children. I did have children. I have 2 boys, so it's not like I didn't do a lot. But for me, the biggest thing was my life comes ahead of everybody else's life, and I think that has been a big success for me, that even my last job, I was literally high flying, because I was working for a Israeli US based organization as their APAC marketing head. And I used to literally fly private jets with them, because the bosses used to come down from Israel and the only option is to fly private jets with them. So at that point also, I mean, at the ripe age of 39, 40, I decided that ab mujhe entrepreneur banna hai, because now I'm sorted. But what was sorting for me at that point of time, over the period, while the whole journey of marriage also happens, the children also happens, you tend to have picked up a lot of loans because you were in a secure job. A lot of people were providing you different loans, right? You have family, your flat loan, you have your cars on loan, you have your personal loans on a lot of things that you do. So for me, the first thing was, if I'm taking the leap or as an entrepreneur, first thing I need to do is get rid of all these insecurities. That kalko, as an entrepreneur, will I be able to pay my EMIs or not? Do I have to again go back asking my husband, yaar, please bhar do, ya, it needs to be, and then getting into a tiff that, arey, yaar, that job was secure. Why did you leave that job? And why did you want to explore your life more over here? So the first thing as an entrepreneur, what I did was do away with all my loans. So, I actually planned it in my 30s. I started, in later, after 25, I started picking up a lot of loans. But after 35, I started paying off a lot of loans. And at the same time, creating a good asset value for myself, So that was one thing that I really feel that every woman who are working, who want to become entrepreneurs, should be free in their mind, free in their head of loans. Okay, that is one. No liability. Don't have these liabilities. You can have liabilities of paying rent, school ka fees, bachcho ka, and all that stuff. But don't have these, extra liabilities that you need to take before you take the pledge of becoming an entrepreneur. So when I became an entrepreneur, and I, very openly tell people today that I became an entrepreneur in good times. So now I have the risk of, I can take the ability of taking as much risk as possible, because I know whatever I do now is going to be gain. It's not going to be loss.
Yeah,
Because
so you achieve the economical stability.
Taken care of. Yeah.
Certainly.
So.
Yeah. Thank you. Aditi, you did touched upon joining the $1 million club for women, right? So I have
No, I'm not there yet at all.
Yeah,
I would love to join, but I'm not there
you,
yet.
you encourage, you promote, women entrepreneur to join $1 billion club more and more. So keeping that in mind, so all of us are running behind becoming a unicorn someday. So what it is important to become a unicorn, because when you go run towards becoming a unicorn or a large enterprise, you take risky shots. You will have some decisions which are like unavoidable, which you will push to be taken. Or on the contrary, you want a happy customer, happy environment, happy employee connections, happy collaborator partnership.
See, how can you have an unhappy customer and have $1 billion company is something which I think we have one example which I can't talk about. But other than that company, I don't know anybody who has anyone. So customer happiness is forefront. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Amazons of the world, I was just reading yesterday, Jeff Bezos has now increased his wealth by 50 billion in a week's time or some nonsense like that. How do they do that? They do that by keeping their customers happy. So customer centric companies usually get the $1 billion valuations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about me wanting more women in the $1 billion club. It's a chicken and egg story actually. When you see women build out those $1 billion companies, and by the way, we have one example. I think Zilingo raised capital about 200 million in 2019, and they are, I think, the first women-led company which is $1 billion
Mm-hmm.
in India. So when you see more of them come up, then VCs also feel more comfortable in funding women. So it's a chicken and egg story that way. What I believe is that, when there is an unequal playing field, okay, there is it's very important to have something that we call a gender lens investing, where you're a woman, you know what it takes for another woman entrepreneur to build out her business, and you are investing from that perspective. So like the others have said, it's very important to know that women will always remain different. There is no way that they are going to become men. In fact, women who try to become men, those businesses don't do well at all. You need to stay the way true to yourself, right? That said, obviously you have to build on your skills, but gender lens investing is important because what it does is it gets more women into the investing space who are then investing in women entrepreneurs. So they know how to deal with them, and they understand those differences because they have come from there. So I was actually talking about that. It's obviously great to have $1 billion. The other thing to understand about $1 billion companies, by the way, there are two ways to make a $1 billion company. One is that you spend 20, 30, 40 years. You see all the industrialists in India, they've done that. Unko thodi na koi venture capital funding milegi, right? But the other way and the quicker way is VC funding, because what VC funding does is that it gives you capital to accelerate your business. It shortens the time span. So if you basically think that you'll become $1 billion in 30 years, you'll be able to achieve that in 10 years. That's the only difference that a VC fund does. It doesn't do anything else. Your fundamentals still have to be as strong, as if it was not VC funded. So that is definitely a thing. But obviously, all of us want to be part of the $1 billion club, So let's.
I mean, I'll just add two things and then have to log out. So I really feel keeping the time limitation is two things I've come across. Women have to ensure. We normally appoint or have advisor for a business, which is not correct. We need to have advisor for personal life and business. Somewhere we feel that we'll manage the life, and we just need mentorship for our business. So that we go wrong. I have personally experienced, if you have the right correct mentor who you can call, you can avoid a lot of things which could have happened to your life and would have destroyed the complete ecosystem around you. So I really feel this is very important. And second, Aditi was talking about that she's not good at networking. I really feel Aditi is perfectly fine. And that's what I'm trying to tell, that it's not important as a woman, you have to do everything. Happiness officer, you need to have a chief networker, because what you're good at, we need to concentrate. And 80% of women are doing multitasking and failing because they're doing multitasking, because they are not able to concentrate on what they do best. If they're good in a particular technical skill, they have to be there, not creating a website, also doing the financial aspect of it. And that's why I feel that as soon as a woman you're starting your business, you are coming up your social initiative, whatever, the first step should be to increase the age of your business. And that is only possible if you have a good combination of advisors on board, which can multiply the life, not 1 year, but 30 years. That should take time. And planning, you should give a lot of importance to your planning, which we skip. I have learned over the years, and I'm really thankful. And I would like to compliment Rashmi and her work. BT Foundation is doing marvelous. I'm really impressed. One organization which is seriously working on important aspects like creating information memorandum for women to raise funds, help them strategy building, which is very important, you know. So I met your co-founder, Rashmi, in one of the panels. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
everyone.
Because, adding up to what Tripti says, Samir, if I can, sort of come in, and it's absolutely necessary what Aditi is saying and what Tripti is saying, that we need to be having that amount of uh, ecosystem which is already there, but then the women, you need to have your own value proposition which needs to talk about. So it's absolutely fine if you're not a great networker or whatever, but if your value is there and if you're mindful of your product and if you're passionate about it, then it will actually go to whoever you are, wherever, because you will be focused in networking with those particular people who will add value to your business. You will focus on the customer, which is the king. Customer is the king at the end of the day. So I think we just need to be mindful, and women itself. And if you see the current COVID conditions right now, all the women leaders, the New Zealand Prime Minister, be it closer home, KK Shailaja, the Kerala Health Minister, where women is at the helm as a leader, she gets a lot of, because of her feminine traits. And of course, she cannot be masculine, which Aditi totally agreed on. But they have some natural traits, which is being female, which is about collaborations, which is about giving the other people to listening to other people's perspective, to pulling it all together. Women are great collaborators. So once that is there, then you actually get your entire value. And another point that I actually wanted to speak about, this entire nepotism that you talked about, Sameer. I do a lot of work with women founders, and I do a lot of work on women on boards. In fact, I was one of the advocacy, when the act came out, the corporate act came out in 2014 about one woman on board of the company. Now there was this entire thing that there were a lot of public listed companies. They said, oh, they've got their mothers or they've got their daughters coming into it, and you might say it's nepotism there. But it's fine, because I know of so many female a business family, and who have tons of money as a family, but their own money is not there in their hands. In a sense, I know of one person. She was from a family, a business family with so many brothers, the father-in-law being the main patriarch, and her husband died. And after her husband died, she was like, I really don't know, because nothing is my name. So if I am getting a board seat, even if I'm being a mother or a daughter-in-law, whatever, then at least I am getting something where I can assert my claim. So nepotism is fine, which I agree with Manjula and whatever, from a very business perspective. And I also agree with Litika, whatever. I mean, if my father has built a business for me, of course I will get into that business. Why shouldn't I not be? And if it's a business like an Amazon, if Jeff Bezos is my father, of course I will take it. So, I will do something about it. Why should I let it go? So, so it is all about, it's all about that.
Thanks. Thank you so much for the perspective, Rashmi. Vartika, this one is for you. I have. So after our, Indo-China, today we are on the war front. I mean, touch wood, it should not go on the war, honestly. But we are there. We have been facing each other. Both the countries are facing each other. And yesterday's news, right? Manjula did mention just now 50 of the applications, Chinese applications, been shut down by Indian government. So is this an opportunity for women entrepreneurs to come up, pick those applications as an opportunity, build it, and go into $1 billion club, and it'll be very easy walk. I'm sure.
Absolutely, Samir, absolutely. On why only this? Everything around is opportunity and opportunity. Look at the weakness that we talked about just now. We talked about, networking, that women are not able to go as frequently in the evenings and network and all that. But what has COVID brought in? COVID has brought in this kind of virtual networking, and women are very good at it. Women are absolutely grand at it. Okay. So what I need to say is opportunities are tremendous for women entrepreneurs or would-be women entrepreneurs at the moment. Yes, whatever is happening at the economic front and with the relationship with China related to business, everything is opportunity, not only limited to this gender, but yes, absolute opportunity. And why not? Why only we look at China or something? Even if we look at only the rural market, I was talking to another institute on rural marketing and how women can do a lot of role in that. I could spot in about 5 to 7 kind of businesses which were like spot on for women, grand opportunities for women, I would say in one line.
Okay, thank you. Likita, do you have a point to add here? Do you see this as an opportunity? I mean, you would attempt to, build one. I mean, though you're from agriculture, more setup and more of your business do relates to agriculture, but I'm sure you can pick up one and go for it. What's your opinion?
With the current times and everything, Samir, I think I have to be grateful to be in part of the agriculture and the essential space, because our businesses have not been affected too much, except for the fact that we have to deal with operational and manpower and logistic challenges. There are definitely a lot of things that we can work towards, and we have different skill sets for sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
go ahead.
Okay, I think I lost you for a bit.
We can hear you properly.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can? Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah.
All right. No, I'm just saying that, there's a definite opportunity everywhere, wherever that we would like to see. In my personal experience, like I said, I have to be grateful that I am in the agri space. At the end of the day, people need to eat and people need to go to school. So there are a few sectors that will not be hit too badly. And that's good. But innovation, I think, as entrepreneurs, that's one of our like core skill sets, is to constantly innovate. And whether it is we're innovating through like new ways of problem solving, or by looking at new business opportunity, I think everything, I think that these times are especially exciting. I find these times super exciting, because I mean, how many of us can say that we lived through a pandemic?
It's so
Would like
nice
to add, Manjula, here?
everybody be positive about the pandemic, especially Litika, the younger generation, and I think
Yeah.
so much of
No, I'm actually, I feel that like whenever I look back at that, I remember the day the lockdown was announced. I wasn't prepared, because we have a factory wherein we have about 120 daily wage workers. I wasn't sure if they're going to turn up, because the villages were shut, and there was a certain sense of panic that came through. And I took a call not to shut my factory. I said, no matter what, even if one labor comes in, I will not shut the factory. And we will do production, we will run it. And looking back, I don't know what made me do that, but I feel that that was such a good move, because if I had shut it down and I had reopened it, then probably I wouldn't have been able to motivate people to come in. The fact that we were open throughout made them realize that, okay, these guys are here and they are going to function with or without me. There are a lot of people who came back in, and they realized that we are taking safety measures, we are looking out for them. And we did this drive wherein, whether people come into work or not, we gave them all the essential supplies for the lockdown months. So we packed everything and we gave it to their households, and we came up with a COVID allowance, so that none of their pay gets affected. So those are the things, when I look back and think, that I feel that the pandemic has given me an opportunity to connect even with the workers, which I would normally not do, because they are like daily wage and they constantly rotate. So yeah, I think opportunity is everywhere.
No, that's true. That's true.
And it was good that you kept your factory working, because that got us food in our house while we were in lockdown, right? I mean, if you would stop, then everything would stop around. Yeah.
That's what we told our workers also, that we are as essential as nurses and as essential as anybody else, because at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to connect good food to people.
So in our case, because we are mostly working like an outsourced IT company kind of setup. So for us, actually, lockdown became much easier to implement. it was holy time. Half of the team anyways had gone home to their hometown, so we decided that we will tell them not to come back. We gave them allowance wherever they wanted computers or laptops to be bought. We told them, get started. Whoever can work, whoever can't work, it's okay. We understand. One thing good which happened with my company was during lockdown. Firstly, lockdown, I felt for me was universal sent, because I was the one of those people who used to crib every day in the morning, traffic bahut hai, kitna traffic jam hai. I would go to Goa and say beach kitna ganda hai. I would look at my children and say, yaar, they are just growing up, I don't have time to even sit with them. So I think for me, personally, in the ripe age that I am in this particular group, I felt that, for me, this time was needed and I'm really cherishing it. Yeah, I'm not happy about coronavirus, but I'm very happy about lockdown. From professional standpoint, from my company standpoint, what really happened was that before we used to attract only the talent which would come to a specific office in a specific location in Pune, and we would have them working for us. The best of talent who was staying on the other corner of Pune, we wanted to hire them, but they would still not come because Pune doesn't have metros, and we are still dependent on our own transport system and things like that. The lockdown actually got me to now hire people all the way from JNK to Cochin and Gujarat to West Bengal. So, we have teams now distributed across India. We have grown in these last 2-3 months. We people have grown in terms of business as well as in terms of team. Why we have grown even when, there's pandemic and, people, because digital marketing became the need of an hour. Today, even the Kirana wala wants a website. Even the Kirana wala wants a software through which he can reach out to his target audience and, get their list of vegetables that need to be delivered. So for us, that became a big opportunity. We went down, we opened doors to all level of clients. We said, aapka jitna bhi budget hai, come in, we will work with you, So that kind of helped me. It kind of helped me even grow my team, hire more people, because we had a lot of work in our hand. And also coming from people's standpoint, suddenly, there was this big shift we saw from the interns who we used to hire before, who would always judge on internship where they are getting paid well, versus, no ma'am, we want to do quality work. So even if you don't pay us, we want to work with you. So I think that whole shift also happened in this lockdown, that industrial shift also happened to how interns started feeling that, let me not have a gap of learning just because I'm not getting paid well. So that added to a lot of advantage, and we are able to sustain ourselves. As an entrepreneur, one thing which I always like telling people is failure. And I want to share that story with you, that I have failed miserably as an entrepreneur in my initial years. I had reached to a point where I said that, bus, I think I'm going to shut down. And that failure was, I am a great marketer, I'm a great communicator, I'm great with my subject, but I was not a great recruiter. So in my initial years of entrepreneur journey, I actually hired not the right talent for my company, but they were great talent, but they were not a good fit for my company. And I lost a lot of investment in paying salaries to people who were just not fit for my company. So here, actually, like, one of the panelists said, help, you need to ask people for help. Even coming to this stage, I did not shy away going into the market, going on to some 20 WhatsApp groups saying that, guys, I'm a startup and I'm facing this challenge of not being a great recruiter. Can somebody just give me 2 hours every day and join me to help me put my resource management and HR policies in place and things like that? So that is where, I realized that, as an entrepreneur doesn't mean that every woman has to know everything, in that whole ecosystem of being an entrepreneur. You can reach out to men, you can reach out to other, women in the ecosystem. You can build an ecosystem for yourself wherein you will find people, you will find people who will come out and help even when you're not paying them that well. you will find, but you have to go out and you have to voice it out to find the right people. So for me, that is how I tackled my failure. And touch wood, today we are a very good ecosystem. Today, not only I am getting help, but today we have come up with our own pro bono cell for women entrepreneurs who have great ideas, but they don't know how to go about with it. Probably they want to reach out to a few panelists here who can help them get funding, but they don't know how to reach them. So we are in a way helping them out by structuring their concepts and then getting them visibility to the VC community, and from there they are able to move forward. So if you do have any women who are looking out for consulting on go to market strategy, even when their product is at a very early stage but they don't know how to take it to the market, please bring that person to me. We will help them on pro bono basis.
So agree to a point, Manjula. I mean, so ultimately, just to summarize, this is an opportunity for women entrepreneur to attack and pick those applications which are going off, make it in the Indian environment is the message. Let me summarize it for all of you. So last but not the least, maybe have one tip from each of you going to the women entrepreneur audience. We have it here. One tip. Yes, please, Vartika. Like to.
Yes, Samir, I would say, see, as Manjula and all my friends have said that women are great collaborators and they are very good in teamwork, and having that empathy and all that makes us what we are. But at the same time, do not lose your focus on business. This is what I would like to see.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Do not lose on focus. This is the
on business, finance, business.
Yeah. Certainly. Rashmi, you mentor a lot of CXOs institutes.
My only thing would be that be passionate about whatever you want to do. If you don't have the passion, then you will not have the energy. So you need to get up in the morning and say, hey, what I'm doing right now, I'm doing it right, and this is what I want to do. If you have that thing, then everything will work out well. So have the passion, have the energy, collaborate. I mean, that is what is there. As a woman, you have your innate skills of nurturer and caregiver, etc. So don't sort of subdue that, because these are all great self-worth to have. So don't be like a man, but be a woman in the true sense. But
extraordinary passion. Yeah. Point taken, Rashmi. Thank you. Aditi, you must be meeting out a lot of women entrepreneurs, want to pitch ideas, want to pitch innovations to you. What message do you take? We have it for them.
Yeah, I think for me, what's really important is how well you've thought through your business. So, I think somebody brought up that point in the beginning, that spend more time in planning. Plan your business to the detail. I also like what I think Litika said, that women do come with a sense of entitlement. So something that we are inherently not the greatest as is salespeople. We first need to, and how do you become great salespeople? You become great salespeople by knowing the details. So if you have thought through your business really deeply, if you have the details, then trust me, nobody can, you'll be pitching your idea very well, and it will really go very well for you in all meetings with your VCs and whatever. So I think for me, that's really important. And honestly, when you go to anybody, any investor, anyone, they will first say, look at your deck and see whether you really thought through your business. So, everything else aside, business fundamentals, business plan, how well you know the numbers, all those are extremely important when you're pitching.
Perfect. So knowing the subject is one of the key and one of the important factor for. That's the message from your desk to everybody. Thank you. Likita, do you have a message?
I think everybody's covered most of it, but if I have to add something, I think is that not only women, every one of us should ask more questions. Whether it is to our team or our customers or our investors or to people that we meet, is to be constantly open to learn and to ask questions, especially when you don't know something. And it is definitely humanly not possible to know everything. So to constantly ask, and I think whenever you don't understand a part of your business, it's okay to ask your employees about it, or it's okay to ask somebody else to help you out, and to learn and be extremely invested in building. And when you're invested, I think that's where you will learn and you'll ask questions. So that's I guess helped me at least. So yeah.
Beautiful. Manjula, to you. The
So
last
I have 3 points to mention over here. Firstly, when you are in your entrepreneur journey, you need to really have the ability to take the risk. If you have even a single point of doubt in you that मैं risk नहीं ले सकता, I may walk थोड़ा बहुत and then I am going to take a break or something, that doubt is there, then please don't venture into entrepreneur journey. Secondly, you have to be a great as an entrepreneur, you have to have management skills, and also skills to have ability to delegate. I have seen a lot of entrepreneurs wanting to do everything on their own. They don't want to delegate, they don't want to let out, they don't want, even if they have teams, they are telling them, okay, ये दो चीजें बस आप दिन की करो, बाकी मैं कल बताऊंगा. No, please go all out, delegate, so that you can focus on the big picture, the big dream that you're trying to chase. And the third important thing that I would say, which I have felt while mentoring a lot of startups, here it's generic, not women, even men who own startups, and I do a lot of mentoring with them. And the biggest thing which I tell them is that you run your business organically first for few years. Don't come up with an idea and today only you want funding. So don't come to me saying that I have this great idea, give me funding. Run it on the ground. Today look at whatever has happened with the China boycott. Today we know about the apps that we have to remove, but do you know how much of Chinese investment has been put into Ola, put into Oyo, put into Big Basket, put into Swiggy, Zomato? Now, if all these Chinese boycott is going to happen, and these fundings which these businesses have taken and become so big, suddenly the funding plug is going to be removed from them. Where are they going to fall? So I think somewhere as an entrepreneur, run your business organically. Run your business like how your fathers and grandfathers did. They never went to the bank asking for loans. The banks came to them saying that अपना account खोलो because आपका turnover इतना हो रहा है, मेरे बैंक का बहुत नाम होगा. Today the things have just shifted. Today we are going begging to banks to give us loan, or begging to people to give us loan to run our business. No, please go the traditional way and run your business traditionally on ground, and then find a good partner to invest in you, who also believes is equally passionate about your venture. Just because somebody is throwing money, just don't go for it. That's my take. Oh, we can't hear you.
Yeah, thank you, Manjula. Thank you so much. It's a real privilege to have all of you here. Maybe Ankita, can we open the window for Q&A from audience? I can see a lot of questions been already answered by Vartika. A lot of them been answered by Rashmi. There has been already an interaction happening, but someone want like explicit question for our speaker now? Can open up, can write.
Absolutely. Thank you so much all for sharing your journey and sharing your point of view about women entrepreneurship. A lot of insights were gathered from this discussion, and yeah, there are a lot of discussions have been already happening on the chat, but we can spend last 2 minutes to just take a question or two. So in case you have any other questions which have not been answered in the chat box, you can please go ahead and ask it, and we will spend next 2 minutes to answer it.
Can I make a point, Samir, if it's okay with you?
Yes, please, Rashmi.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to take one of Likita's point, where she had said that women actually undersell themselves. And that is very, very true. And we undersell ourselves, and we're very happy with being average, and we take whatever is given to us, is what I always feel. And why I tell you this is when I started off my business way back in 2012, and I was a consultant, right? So I used to get a lot of business. I used to see a lot of people when they were interacting with me as a woman vendor, and they were interacting with a male vendor, they had differences. So, for example, there was this one case where we were going somewhere, and we were put up in a hotel, and I was given a room which was sharing it with somebody within their organization, some female, and this person, this male person also who was there, he was given one single room, etc. I actually made it a point saying that why is this kind of discrimination? And the woman who was dealing there, she said, no, but you are a woman, you will understand. So, this, and at that point of time, I put my foot down and I said, no, this is not, I mean, I need an equal footing. So somewhere down the line, that equality, where it is, we need to get up and we need to, sort of talk about it and not undersell ourselves. If we believe in ourselves and we know what we are worth of, I think we should have people who also always, sort of try and negotiate with a woman saying, "Arey kar lo na, cut kar lo na, itna to hai," whatever. And the same people I know, when they're negotiating with a man, they will give what the man wants. This is my experience. I would like to feel, just ask other women entrepreneurs, did they feel the same? Have they felt the same?
I would like to add to this. I've seen like Jay is asking about, as a women boss, how does it feel like and what were the experiences? Because I've never ever worked for anybody in my life. I came to Delhi with a backpack, nobody here. I found a place where I could stay and I started my work journey. So it was tremendous. You can understand what kind of difficulty it was. So when I started my first, I started with an agency, small boutique creative agency, and I had people working for me and with no background in that creative direction and all that, but I was extremely good at my work and all that. So when people the first time I used to hire people, they used to come and show me so much of things, as if I don't know anything. Okay, so I used to listen to them. In the beginning, I used to be really angry, annoyed. What are they thinking? I don't know. I have seen things from the scratch and I've been sitting with printers and even a screen printer and all. I know how the technology and all that, but I used to listen to them. But I understood, in the time being, I understood why they are doing this. Not because it's me. Okay, it's because I'm a woman. And there's a general perception that, okay, she may not be knowing and she is just coming and sitting because women are not.
Okay,
women are not. They think that they're not supposed to know things. They're not inquisitive and all that. So what I did is I understood this thing. I understood. I started feeling that okay, I should not react at all. What I should do, because I am here to grow. I am here to scale up. I have my plans and everything, and a team is going to be everything for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to every one of them. Be calm, kind of being with them. And when there is a problem and they come to me, I'll do that. Solve that. Okay, so that's how I used to make it, and I had a superb team. We worked like anything. We grew so much. Someone asked me how I scaled up. I scaled up in the first 3 years. Scaling up is my passion, and I really want to scale up every 3 years. So unless and until I have that drive, and how that drive will be possible unless and until I make that my ambition, right? It's not about how I can do something. It's about I have to do something. In the next 5 years, I know I'll be doing something like that. That drive has to be there. And that drive is possible a lot through learning as well. So you need to be a lifelong learner. Unless and until you learn yourself, people are going to come and teach you a lot of things. But yes, you cannot learn everything. It's okay. As I told you, we have to work on our strengths and we have to outsource our other lesser strengths, right? So that's what I have been learning and doing. So if you ask me, men, how do men behave and do they like to report to a women boss? No, they don't like it at all. They don't like it. But ultimately the gender, kind of, it just goes off as soon as you get into work and you really do it. You solve problems. You are there for a person, go-to person for issues. You can talk. You know कि रात दिन क्या है कोई matter नहीं करता. I'm there to work. I know how to talk to someone. तो क्या है वो gender वाली बात नहीं रहती थी. फिर वो बात आती है कि you're a person, I'm a person, we are at work. Professionalism आ जाती है. So yes, you have to go through it as well.
It's really important. I agree to you. I second that, Vartika.
Even I would like to share this because I think I am the one who's had more years of experience working in corporates in the leadership role, where ultimately it used to be either me or one or two people, women in leadership. I want to share about Satyam. When the crisis broke out and I was GM corporate communication for Satyam BPO, all other leaders were all men and I was the only one who was woman, and I was handling media, and media was like all over. Even the MTV tickers were talking about us at that point of time. So I think for me, I feel that your attitude, leadership quality needs to be really worked upon. You need to really stand out as a leader. I mean, you really need to, like how you said that we need to look at learning. So learning should be there. That how do you want to stand out in this whole group of leaders who are all men, and you want to be voiced out. You don't want to be silently standing behind somebody, right?
Right.
I was the spokesperson at that point of time to handle aggressive media, because none of these guys wanted to do anything at that point of time, because nobody wanted to say anything. So I was always pushed ahead. I was living in Hyderabad, so I used to drive a Alto, and my Alto used to be chased by media people, till my housing society. At least kuch ek bite mil jaye Manjula ki, who's buying Satyam out, and things like that. So I think it's very important that how you want to, at the same time, as a woman, the Mamta, Karuna, all these names only women can have, right? So we have to be compassionate also in this industry, because it is not कि हम ममता नाम अपना घर पे छोड़ के बाहर कोई और नाम से जाते हैं, या अपना नाम करुणा है तो हम उसको घर पे छोड़ के बाहर जाके करुणा डेमोन्स्ट्रेट नहीं करते. We have to do that, as women we have to be compassionate towards everyone. I'm very lucky that I have had teams who were men, boys. Today in my team, we definitely have a 50-50 policy, because, working with an Israeli cultured company, one thing I learned was that it needs to be equal, men and women, because Israel, I mean, if any one of you have got an opportunity to go to Israel, it's equality. You're serving the army equal, you're serving the industry equal, it's all equal. There's no difference between men and women there. So for my company, we have equal, but I have not faced any problem where one male colleague is having issues with another woman colleague. It's never happened, because I think the how you can train your team down is also about good, powerful leadership qualities that you can give them, that this is how you need to stand out, not bossing over, but just an attitude of having good leadership quality also matters a lot. It helps you,
Absolutely.
And at the same time, be grounded, be compassionate also,
No, that's one of the important trait. I agree with you, Manjula. With this, I think we are just heading for the closure of the session. Do we have any more question, Ankita? I think we are touching the clock now. We are almost there at 5:30.
Yeah, I think we are falling short of time. But I think on the chat box, all the panelists have given their links and places where you can actually get in touch with them in case you have any questions. So I request you, all participants, to please go ahead, and I'm sure all these panelists will be more than happy to kind of take your questions offline through LinkedIn or through emails and answer them as well. So thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much, all panelists, for joining in, taking out time and joining in today's session.